Welcome to the chat today. My name is Crissy Camerata. I'm an IT recruiting manager here for BCG's Business Services Group. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the Boston Consulting Group. We are a top management consulting firm and an employer of choice, and wanted to tell you today about our internal roles that span locally, regionally, as well as globally, that go beyond typical consulting and are key pillars of the firm. BCG has a global presence, currently with 18,000 employees in over 50 different countries.
And hi everybody, I'm Gabriel Fahy. I'm the recruitment director for BCG's Global Services arm. Our goal today is to dive deeper and to provide a more thorough explanation of our business function roles.
We'll spend this time first giving you an overview of our backgrounds, and then we'll explore the business functions at BCG and what it's like to work with us.
Please feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comment box during and after our chat, and we'll make sure we attend to those answers afterwards. Should we get started then?
Yeah, so Gabe, can you talk a bit about your background and experiences prior to BCG and what made you choose to come to BCG?
Sure. So my career prior to BCG was split between 8 years in executive search, followed by 12 years working for technology vendors. Most of my career has been spent primarily in Europe before I moved to the US 2 years ago. So why BCG? Well, there's a couple of reasons. After 8 years with my prior organization, was thinking about a new challenge. I reached out to a former member of my team who was part of BCG, having identified a position, and after some discussions, she ultimately referred me. But the fact that I had her positive endorsement, had the voice of somebody I trusted to really augment what I was able to see in the public domain, compelled me to apply. And then during the course of pursuing the application, learning more about the mission of Global Services specifically, it was just an incredibly attractive and compelling opportunity. Crissy, what about yourself? What led you to join BCG?
Well, first I started off my recruitment career on the staffing agency side, and then transitioned over into technical recruiting for some corporate firms here in the Boston and Cambridge area. I actually was referred to BCG as well by a former colleague, and my mother-in-law happened to work here a couple of years ago and always had great things to say about BCG. So naturally I was curious to learn more about BCG's employer of choice brand, and wanted to know a little bit more about the nature of the business and the exciting opportunity that was available. So Gabe, what roles make up the business functions and how are they changing?
So our business functions are composed of IT, finance, are composed of marketing, legal, risk, and operations. So essentially what other companies may describe as foundation services or corporate services, we describe as our business services functions. And also within each of the functional areas that I outlined, there are sub-functions. So for example, procurement is a sub-function of operations. IT security is a sub-function of our IT functional area. And as BCG grows and evolves, so our business functions need to scale accordingly to be able to better support the business. And this is really the principal reason for the growth that we are currently seeing and have been experiencing, certainly over the last couple of years. And it's not just about growth, it's about finding ways to operate more efficiently. It's about embracing technology to be more connected and more collaborative in the way that we work. This means that we're seeing a lot of new role types come onto that we need to recruit for. We're seeing that as we evaluate or as we evolve as an organization, we're continually looking to find ways to add value to the business. So Crissy, as a recruitment manager, what would you say we're looking for in potential BCGers?
Yeah. So we're looking for smart and dedicated professionals that are going to embrace BCG's values, culture, and our diversity here. BCGers come from a variety of backgrounds, nationalities, cultures, locations, experiences, educations. So we're looking for those individuals that are excited to bring their area of expertise to BCG and teach, grow, and expand their knowledge while they're here at BCG. I happen to support IT specifically, so just to plug what's going on in the IT world, we're doing a ton of hiring in the IT function. Right now, it makes up over about 50% of the open business services recs, which speaks to the magnitude of the growth here. So we've got a transformation that's happening globally. And it's really highly supported by the business here at BCG. So we've got a multi-year roadmap ahead of us, and we're looking to bring more technical expertise and functionality in-house here. So we're investing in areas of, enterprise architecture, development, infrastructure, security, service delivery, just to name a few here. A couple of our IT hubs are Boston, Atlanta, London, Munich, Madrid, and New Delhi. So that's where we're doing a lot of hiring right now.
So the growth is taking place internationally. We're getting a lot of visibility with the work that you're doing. And very exciting, I'm sure, you to be part of
very
this
exciting,
transformation.
very busy time for us. So going back to the business functions here, how are those regional, local, and global business functions set up within BCG?
So the way our business functions are organized, or at least the way that I try and explain it to a lot of the candidates that I speak to, is to visualize concentric circles. So the outer circle is the business functions delivering capability on a local level. So even in the very smallest office, they would be business services employees. Mm-hmm. Those functions become more robustly represented as we go one layer in, and that's at a regional level. And then at the heart, you have global services. So you've referenced and have spoken about the IT transformation, mm-hmm. which is impacting all of our employees. A program of work such as this needs to be driven by global services, given that it transcends both local and regional, right, and impacts the entire organization. Right. So moving away from the way that we're organized, Crissy, tell us a little bit more about the networks and programs that are in place for our employees, for BCGers.
Yeah, we've got a variety of networks and programs that span from professional to social to fun. So we have, for example, women at BCG. BCG is known as a top employer for women, and we've got a large group that spans globally here. A network to stay connected, network within the group here. We have Pride at BCG, for another example, a veterans network that's here in the United States. Just a variety of different social and diversity networks that you can join here upon becoming a BCGer. Also want to mention as well, we have a lot of opportunities to really be able to get to know your colleagues outside of the office. We do a variety of office events. We do a retreat that's usually a weekend away, so you get some time to get to know your colleagues outside of the office space.
And this happens irrespective of which location you're in. I gather it happens in multiple locations, and it's not just a US-centric benefit.
No, this is something that BCG does across the board here in all locations. So, Gabe, what kinds of opportunities of growth and development are available for BCGers over the course of their career here?
So I think the most impressive and telling statistic is that 20% of our open positions are filled through internal transfers, and that's a level of internal mobility that's far in excess of industry norms. Right. And it speaks volumes about the company's willingness to invest in developing talent and willingness to keep that talent within the organization.
Definitely.
There are opportunities to work abroad. There are opportunities to pursue further education and to grow professionally. And once again, reinforcing what we touched on earlier on of one BCG and many parts.
Great. And how do you think digital and technology has transformed and impacted these business functions?
Well, I think the impact of digital and technology is all around us. It's all around us in the world. But specifically as far as our functions, it's fundamentally changing the way that we interact and collaborate as a workforce. It's providing solutions to the way that we adapt to a changing world. A perfect example could be our ability to meet compliance for GDPR. Without technology, without tools at our disposal, we would really struggle to be compliant. I mean, can you imagine operating in a paper-based world and trying to be compliant, or with systems that are somewhat clunky and don't interact with one another? Another example is the way digital is significantly enhancing things like the finance function's ability to report. So the advent of digital reporting tools, things like Tableau, are changing the way that we share information, the way that we visualize information, the way that we communicate ideas. Within our own area of recruiting, we're seeing that digital capabilities, from video interviewing to mechanisms to capture feedback centrally, are helping us to operate faster, to be more agile, and essentially to screen a broader cross-section of candidates, which can only help us to provide a kind of a richer seam of individuals from which to select from.
Right, right.
So, Crissy, in terms of, we talked a little bit about digital transformation. In your opinion, what are the ways do you think that this is impacting recruiting and our function?
Yeah. I mean, it's changed quite a bit. We're moving at a faster pace, and today's employment market is quite different than it was several years ago. Candidates are now empowered and more discerning than ever because they have access to data, they have access to information. They can go on a wealth of sites and social sites and read reviews, rankings, and feedback on employers. They can really come look at a specific company or an opportunity and really have their mind made up on whether or not that's something they want to pursue before they've even applied, before they've even talked to anyone, before they've even interviewed. I think we can say the days of paper resumes and snail mail is over. It's all digital at this point. It's getting very social. And again, those candidates have these different tools to make those opinions before they even engage.
So do you feel that as a team we need to continually find ways to make ourselves relevant and visible in the market?
Yeah, and I think that's why we're doing this today. We want to find different channels to be able to engage with talent, engage with the community, let them know about BCG, let them know about our business services functions and our open opportunities that we have here. So Gabe, what makes BCG a great place to work?
Well, it's wonderful to be part of a company that values and sees strength in the diversity of its workforce. As employees, we feel informed and connected to the company's mission, the company's purpose. We offer phenomenal benefits to our staff, great office space, and above all, talented people that we're working with, we're learning from, we're sharing experiences. It's our staff, it's the people that ultimately are central and what make this such a special place to be. Right.
No, I agree. And I will say that BCG is the first place I've worked where I don't feel like headcount, I don't feel like a number. I continuously am impressed with the opportunity that we have here, the way BCG values their internal employees and the knowledge they have. As a recruiter, I've seen employees go from one country to another, starting off a role in the US and moving to an opportunity in Europe. I've seen people move functions, start off in IT, end up in marketing, which really isn't typical to see that in typical other companies. The other thing is BCG has a reputation for taking great care of their employees. Their benefits are phenomenal and second to none, and I think that really trickles down in how I feel valued and cared for as an employee.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you've said, and I think just to reinforce as well, one point that we haven't touched on is the company's private status. We have the ability to think long term. There's not this loyalty towards a community of shareholders, and sometimes those loyalties are split. If you've got to look after customers and shareholders, those needs don't necessarily align. So being part of a company that's stable, that has the ability to think long term, that puts its employees first, and therefore enables them to better serve our customers, be they internal or external. So Crissy, in terms of things like work-life balance, what are the things that BCG does to support work-life balance?
Yeah. Well, so I want to say that the culture here is very mature, right? You get a lot of independence while doing your work and being in your role. We've got the support system in place, should you need any assistance and any help or guidance. But you really get that autonomy, to do your work and have the technology tool set at your side to really get that accomplished. The other thing is there's a fair amount of flexibility here. We are a very mobile type of company. Our consultants are traveling around the world from point A to point B, and some of that actually trickles down in our business services function. We're very, very reliant on collaboration and productivity tools, very heavy on WebEx, so it's not uncommon for it not to be a 9-to-5 desk job here, right? You might start your day from home via WebEx, come into the office a little bit later. It's also not uncommon for employees to maybe take a day or two a week from home, as long as that fits in with their team. That's pretty typical here. But I really think that BCG trusts their employees. We're here, we're engaged, we want to make a difference.
And I think speaking also to the work-life balance side and touching on the benefits that we both discussed, we do have very progressive views on things like maternity leave in the United States, and an area that's personally resonating with me. About to expect a second child is paternity leave, which is far in excess of what most other companies provide. And I think that's really a good indicator of the company's commitment to really looking after its employees, really providing a culture that enables staff to feel supported, enables staff to feel cared for and looked after, and you're more likely to be loyal and to give your all to an organization like that.
Right, and I think that speaks to the diversity too. They give the benefit to the mothers, the fathers, same-sex couples as well, which is really, again, echoing really how they take care of their employees. So I think that's all the time we have today, but thank you for joining us.
And we hope to see you again on a future chat. Thank you.